Now our top stories tonight. Preparations underway for one of the major transformation projects in Bridgetown. Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM discusses the Prime Minister's chairmanship of the Caribbean community. Plant nurseries playing their part in support of the national goal of planting 1 million trees. And coming up in sports, Australia remain in striking distance of leaders India for the lead in the ICC Test Championship race.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Thanks for joining us. In our top story tonight, we hear that government's plan to transform Bridgetown officially got underway today. As we hear in this Sharika Griffith report, the first order of business is preparing the former National Insurance Scheme building for demolition to make way for the Golden Square Freedom Park.
When a CBC team visited the area, workmen from C.O. Williams were busy erecting a barrier around the old NIS building to ensure the safety of the travelling public. It's understood the next step will be the removal of windows from the 4th and 5th floors, which will be the first to be demolished. For now, vendors in the Fairchild Street bus terminal continue to ply their trade, but one woman who did not want to be identified showed CBC a letter from the Transport Board asking vendors to close their businesses for 4 to 6 weeks once the demolition begins.
It would affect me in a great way because this is my only source of income, and cutting off this is gonna throw me back in paying my rent and my bills and so forth.
For the past 65 years, the Bridgetown Fire Station has been a main landmark in the city. However, as government moves ahead with plans to redevelop Bridgetown, it will soon be no more. The fire station has also been earmarked for demolition, and some of the 40 to 50 fire officers based there have been seizing the opportunity to snap a few final photos as keepsakes. However, several admit they remain in the dark about plans for their relocation and expressed concern about a significant increase in response times to fires and accidents if they are moved from the city. As for the containers in a nearby car park, which the officers presume will be their temporary accommodations, one fireman pointed out that, unlike the station, female officers would no longer have dedicated quarters. In her address to the nation on Thursday, Prime Minister Mia Motley also announced the construction of 100 new stalls to house vendors of the Fairchild Street Market, a move that has been welcomed by vendors and patrons alike.
A very good idea, right? And to at least to do new stalls for the vendors, right? That it will be much better than how it is here right now.
It can be different, set for stalls and things. But we just want me like upstairs and downstairs. That kind of thing. Yeah, but different than that there. I'm looking forward.
To me, it feel better. Because still has upgrade in the country. It feel better.
I is 68 years in November I gone there. They're the best government I ever seen in my life. This is my government. But in that government I gone along, they get a little time too long, so I gone.
Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Sharika, thanks. Well, for the next 6 months, Prime Minister Mia Motley will be chair of the Caribbean Community, or CARICOM. The position is rotated biannually, providing the heads of government of CARICOM member states an opportunity to each lead the organization. But what does the post entail? Well, to answer that question and to give us more insight into the position is Barbados' Ambassador to CARICOM, David Commichon. Ambassador Commichon, thanks for joining us tonight.
My pleasure, Lisa.
So I'll start where I ended just now. What exactly does the post of chair entail?
Well, first and foremost, Prime Minister Motley will be the chair of the Conference of Heads of Government. That's where all of the heads come together. She will chair that. And as chair of the Heads of Government Conference, it means that the Heads of Government Conference that is held every 6 months will be held in her home country. Thus, we're going to have the Intersessional Heads of Government Conference right here in Barbados in February. It also means, and the Heads of Government Conference is the supreme organ of CARICOM, so she chairs the supreme organ. She also becomes a member of the Bureau. The Bureau is a small committee that comprises the current chair, the past chair, and the incoming chair. And the Bureau basically, in between full Heads of Government conferences, the Bureau basically carries forward the functions of the heads of government. So as chair, she will have some power to help set the agenda for the Heads of Government Conference in Barbados and to select the guests, for example.
Just a quick question. You said that the meeting in February is going to be an intersessional. There's a difference between the intersessional meeting and the meeting of the full heads, which usually happens later on in the year. It's full heads.
All the heads do come together. But the July meeting, which is a meeting that coincides with the anniversary of the founding of CARICOM, tends to be a bigger Heads of Government Conference than the February meeting, but it's still all the heads coming together.
Right.
Yeah.
So what areas do we anticipate the Prime Minister will focus on during her chairmanship?
Well, I can tell you the outreach to Africa is going to be key for her. She is going to be pushing really hard to have the first CARICOM African Union Summit in June in Nairobi, Kenya. She's also going to be pushing to see how she can get the ACP to be a more dynamic institution. She's going to be trying to find a solution to the predicament that Haiti finds itself in. Those are going to be some of her priorities. She has her pet projects. I mean, the ferry system, the creating new financial instruments to leverage some of that $47 billion in the banking system in the Caribbean. A food production project across the region. So she has her pet projects, but there's a word of caution. She's coming to the chairmanship at a time when you have a number of hot potato issues. Venezuela
being one. That was going to be my next
Iran. You have a very contentious, potentially very contentious election in Guyana with all that happened last year with the vote of no confidence and so forth. You have the situation in Suriname, another election, and also the peculiar situation of the president having been convicted of murder and appealing that conviction. You have the blacklisting problem that continues with just recently Holland blacklisting Barbados because they claim our what we charge in taxes is too low. Right. So
and there's also the issues of climate change and
but so I mean she has a very positive agenda. I know there are a number of things she will either want to accomplish in the 6 months or at least to start in a very substantial way. But the caution is that there are these kind of contentious issues that any one of which can erupt during that 6 month period.
One of the things people have often talked about is that lots of decisions come out of these conferences, but no follow-up, no action. Some people have described CARICOM as just a toothless body. Is the Prime Minister in a position to do anything about that?
Well, the Prime Minister, since coming to office, she has brought a kind of breath of fresh air through CARICOM because her whole style is about getting things done. And I think her personal influence has definitely helped a lot. In fact, over the past year, CARICOM has made significant progress on issues like contingent rights. Right. For example, a number of issues that had been lagging for years. I think her energy and her can-do and very positive spirit has made a difference and will continue to make a difference now that she is in the position of chair.
Thank you very much, Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, David Commichong, telling us about the upcoming chairmanship of Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley as chair of CARICOM. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
My pleasure.